My name is September McGee. Today we're going to teach you how to do a watercolor of a sea star. We're going to need water, obviously. We're going to need the watercolors. We need brushes and a pencil. And then we're going to have the magic that's going to help create that magic texture. So let's start with one leg. We'll start with the top one. Here we are, there's a leg. See how I sketch it in, and I'm not worried about how many lines because we're going to be using paint on top of this pencil sketch. So there's one leg. And then we're going to do leg number 2. Now if I'm going too fast for you at any time, stop the video and catch up. Here's leg number 3. I can maybe turn that one a little bit. Here's leg number 3, a little curve on that one. If they're different sizes, it's okay. Here's leg number 4. Looking like a sea star. And here's leg number 5. And now we're going to start painting. So I have 2 brushes, but you really only need 1. But I'm going to put this is a round, this is the flat. I'm going to put the flat down, and I'm going to start with the round. The first thing you do is get your brush wet in the water. And then we're going to wet. Notice I rinse in between each color so that I don't carry the orange to the yellow to the green, and the blue. So I'm going to put the brush in the water again, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to fill in the lines with just plain water. And it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be fun. And you can tell where it's wet because it'll have a gloss to it. So you might want to turn your head and look, is it all wet? And there we have it. Now we're going to do the underpainting, and it's going to be a wet and wet. That means we're going to layer one color on top of the other. We're going to start with yellow. Did you know yellow is the color of fun? Well, it is. And I hope we're having fun. So I'm going to add more pigment. Oops. There we go. Do I care that it went out there? Absolutely not. So don't you either. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the water. This is where we're going to mix the colors. So there's my yellow, rinsing the brush in between colors, and here's my orange. So wet and wet, a little more orange over the yellow. The paint will start to flow very easily because there's already the first wet layer, then there's the second layer of yellow, and the third layer with the orange. But with watercolors, you do paint fast. It's just the nature of the medium. So now I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to pick up my magic ingredient, salt. It's amazing. So I am just going to sprinkle some salt on my sea star. So this salt will create a texture and separate the yellow and the orange to look like a sea star with all this texture out front. In the middle, and you can barely see it with Sally, but there is a little star right there. So I'm going to take the blue. Remember, we're mixing our colors over on the palette. Oh, I almost didn't rinse, and rinse. I'm going to take this color. I'm rinsing again. I want to make sure I have it dark enough. Blue and orange together, and I am going to create that little star. Well, that was a lot of paint. You know what happens when you have a lot of paint? It starts moving like that. You take a paper towel, and you can dab it just a little at any time. It will lift it back up. So I'm back to that little star in the middle. There. Maybe I'll go a little darker. This is where, when you're painting, it's your sea star. You can make it as light or as dark as you like. But see, because it's still so wet, the watercolor does its own thing, which is a magic in itself. Now, believe it or not, I'm going to add a little red right in the center of that because I think it's kind of fun. And that probably needs to use a little less water. Oh yeah, I can put my fingers on it. Okay, it's always okay. So Sally's starting to look like Sally. I might dab that little thing. Is that bothering you? I'll take that out. Okay. Where does Sally live? Well, she lives in the ocean. And out here in Laguna Beach, our ocean has a lot of green in it. So I'm back to mixing out here, and blue. So let's see what we got. Okay, closest to the sea star, we are now going to do a graded, oh, that came out beautiful. That's a great color. We're going to do a graded wash. So there's my dark pigments of green and blue. I'm going to rinse the brush, and I am going to pull it out to the ends. Rinse and pull. Now it's going to start creating all these little blooms in here. Highly desirable in watercolor. Really fun. I can always go back in and add a little more color. It's your painting. You do as you like. Ooh, a little more green in there. I'm going to move back up on top of Sally's legs. A little green, a little blue. Back we go. Sometimes it comes out wonderful. But see all these little fun things happening? That's the way watercolor is. It likes to spread around in its own way. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to finish going around Sally with the ocean. So clearing the water again, clear water, I'm going to soften all the edges. So I only want the edges. Here's the edges. And I'm softening them. I decided I needed it to be a little darker. And again, if you like that, like it a little darker, add some more pigment. The more water you add, the lighter it is. The more of the paint you add, the darker it is. And I might even take my little paper towel and soften some of these as well. Okay, but Sally lives in the ocean, and the ocean is made of salt. So once again, I'm going to give that some salt. You can see, if you look a little closer, that the salt is separating all the colors, and it looks a little bit like the ocean. Now you can go back in and maneuver some of this and make it so that we have some of these effects. The thing about watercolor is you almost at one point need to let it alone so it can create its own effects. Rinsing again, what I'm going to do is, like these examples, I'm going to outline Sally a little bit. So I'm going to use, what shall we use? I think we should use blue. Did you guess it? And orange. Because there's already orange, there's already blue, so I want to keep it. It's called color continuity, big word, but it means all your colors come together and are happy. And I am going to outline. Now, is it all even perfect? No. That's the fun thing about painting. I always go check back in. Okay, now this you're gonna really like. I'm gonna take that orange and I am gonna get a lot of pigment on there. So the less water, more pigment, darker the color, and it won't run as much. And I'm gonna go right over that edge. Right over that edge. So what we're really doing is we're making this look like a real sea star. It's going to have form. And by doing these darker edges, I am giving the sea star a lot of form. Making it look three-dimensional. That's the word I was looking for. We're doing a three-dimensional. Okay, I'm going to rinse the brush. And I am going to blend. Now blend means that you just softly blend right into the edges of her arms. Here we go, more. I can actually lift that color and add some more color. I'm going to add a little yellow into the sea star. Why not? Put a little yellow. She started in yellow. And yellow is the color fun, if you remember. So here we go. We're going to soften and soften. Maybe take that out. Now at any point you can stop. I might also put a few dabs of water like that. I think you can call it anything you like. I call it fun. Just creating a little bit of, see some of these effects? I want to create a lot of effects. So I'm looking at her now and I'm pretty happy. Here's what the trick is. is you might want to touch up a few spots, and then you put your paintbrush down. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of orange over in this arm. I took it out, didn't mean to, sorry Sally. And so there you have it, Sally Sea Star with water.